Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me introduce myself. My name is Andhika Wahyu Rustamaji, and now I am a student. I'm a postgraduate student in Sebelas Maret University of Surakarta, and I'm delighted to be here today to talk to you about my presentation. The topic is literature circle. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint below. Today, my presentation is divided into 5 parts. The first part is what is literature circle. And then the second is description chart of literature circle. Then the third is key features of literature circle. And then the fourth, roles in literature circle. And then the last is assessment and the evaluation of literature circle itself. So first, I would like to give you some background information about what is literature circle. Okay, to the next slide. Okay, wait. Literature circles in EFL. Literature circles in EFL are teacher-accompanied classroom discussion groups among English as a foreign language learners who regularly get together in class to speak about and share their ideas and comment on others' interpretation about the previously determined section of a grade reader in English, using their role sheets and student journals in collaboration with each other. So basically, literature circles are small, temporary discussion groups of students who have chosen to read the same work of literature. Each member agrees to take specific responsibility during these discussion sessions. The circles meet regularly. Maybe they can meet once a week or twice a week, and the discussion roles change at each meeting. When the circle finishes a book, some book or some story, the members decide on a way to showcase their literary work for the rest of the class. That's from Daniels from the years of 1994, and then. Literature circles engage students in rich conversation about shared readings. The first is students can express their opinions about the book itself, and then the prediction of the story, the prediction of the plot from the book, and questions about text in a productive and structured way. Then the teacher may ask students to take on specific group roles, such as a summarizer or director, which are designed to develop reading, speaking, and thinking abilities. As the students become more skilled in literature circle conversation, they can move beyond specific role assignments. Okay, let's start. Let's take a look to the next slide. The next slide is the description chart. Literature circles are reader-response centered, not teacher and text centered. Why? Because reader-response centered is more important thing than the teacher and text centered. Because the main point of the literature circle itself is the discussion between the students to another students about their readings, and then. Literature circles are part of a balanced literacy program, not the entire reading curriculum. Then groups formed by book choice, not teacher-assigned groups for solely by ability. And then structure for student independence, responsibility, and ownership, not unstructured, uncontrollable talk time without accountability. Then literature circles are guided primarily by student insights and questions, not guided primarily by teacher or curriculum-based questions. Then, literature circles are intended as a context in which to apply reading and writing skills, not intended as a place to do skills work. Then the last is flexible and fluid. Never look the same twice, and the literature circles are not taught to a perspective recipe. So talk about the read response centered on the description on this description chart description chart. Literature circle is literature circle is more concentrate. More their centris is more to the read response centered, because the skill that literature circle have, the skill that maybe will have the result from the from learning the literature circle is they can talk about their readings, they can talk about their books, they can talk about their reading materials or anything else, and then they can share it with the another students, and they take a discussion from that. Okay, it's like that. Then to the next slide is key features of literature circle. So the first key features of literature circle is children choose their own reading materials. Small temporary groups are formed based on book choice. The meaning of the based on book choice is if the class or if the club in the literature circle is using the novel, using the fan fiction, or maybe using the fiction novel. So maybe the the club or the literature circle is using the same book, the same genre, like a fiction novel, just like that. And then different groups read different books. This means that different groups read different books means the genre is still same, but the book must to be different. The book need to be different with one group to another group. Seems like here I have a class of kings, and then I have a Harry Potter novel or anything else. Maybe in the first group can use the Harry Potter novel, and then the second group can use the A Class of Kings novel. And then groups meet on a regular, predictable schedule. Students use written or drawn notes to guide both their reading and discussion. And then discussion topics come from the students itself. Group meetings aims to be open. The conversation need to be natural, and then often the conversation disgraces to topics relating to the student or loosely to the books, but should eventually return to the novel. The teacher serves as a facilitator, observer, listener, and often a fellow reader alongside the students. The teacher is not an instructor. Students are given roles or jobs to compete for each group meeting. Then the teacher should model how students should facilitate its role or job. And then evaluation is by teacher, observation and student as self-evaluation, and should also include extension projects. A spirit of playfulness and fun pervades the room. And then last is new groups form around the reading articles. Okay, so to the next slide, to the next material is roles in literature circle. The roles in literature circle. The first is discussion facilitator. What is discussion facilitator? This role involves developing a list of questions that the group might discuss about the section of the novel to be discussed for the next meeting. Questions should be designed to promote lively conversation and insights about the book. And then they should be open questions. Then the second is commentator. Commentator. This role involves locating a few significant passages of text that are too provoking, funny, interesting, disturbing, or maybe powerful. The quotation are copied down with properly cited page number. And then the third is illustrator. As the term implies, this roles in literature circle entails drawing and then sketching or painting a picture, portrait, or scene relating to the appropriate section of the novel itself. And then it's connector or reflector. This role involves locating several significant passages in the novel and connecting these passages to the real life. So, basically the student can learn about what the the writer of the novel itself addressing their novel to the society, or what else, or anything else. And then the summarizer. This role involves locating several significant passages. Summarizer this role involves preparing a brief of summary of the reading that was assigned of that day of meeting. The summary could summarize the discussion between the students to the another students, and then the summarizer could use their job to be the copywriter, or maybe the summarizer when there is a Q&A, or when there is the question and answer session about the discussion. They can take summary from the discussion itself. And then the roles in literature is vocabulary enricher, also called the word master of word wizard, because if we talk about the literature circle, we can use it as beneficial as it be, because the book that contained the beautiful words such as like novel or anything else, they can make us the book itself can developing our skills on vocabulary. Our library of vocabulary is more higher and higher if we are often to reading some books. And then travel tracer. This role involves recording when the major shifts in action or location take place in the novel for the reading section. And then the investigator. This role includes investigate work where background information needs to be found of any topic relating to the book itself. And then the last is figurative language finder. This role includes in identification of various types of figurative language, including but not limited like simile, metaphor, personification, hyperbole, and maybe idiom. Okay, it's like that. And then to the next slide. To the next slide is assessment and evaluation of the literature circle. The first assessment and evaluation is self-assessment. Students should be involved in monitoring and recording their own level of responses and engagement with their book and participation with their group as they meet in the discussion. And then other normal checklists are used for students to keep track of their progress. So they need the student need to be self-evaluate about their progress, about their ability from weeks to weeks whenever they have a discussion to the literature circle book clubs itself. And then the second is peer assessment. Students can also be empowered to assess their fellow group members over the course of their book talks. As with a self-assessment, checklists or the rubrics can provide structures. And then go to the observation, ongoing teacher observation, and active participation in group discussion is critical in assessing student progress, both individually and in whole group. So the observation is, it's like a role from the teacher itself to evaluating or maybe to assessing their their student whenever they have a discussion through this literature circle book club. And then conferences, face-to-face conversation between student and teacher can help to access. And then the is portfolios, collection of students' portfolios is like a collection of student products collected and assembled in a meaningful fashion, provide that opportunity for reflection, discussion, response to the book itself, response to the book that what they read, and then displaying a student best work. Portfolio can take of many forms, ranging from writing, art, video, auto tapes, learning logs, student journal, and etc. and etc. And then the extension project. Extension project can take in the form of numerous creative and artistic student products, from book jackets to visual media or printed form. So extension project in this literature circle in this presentation is it's like when they have a good evaluation from the book that they have had read before. The extension project maybe can to another week they can talk about they can read the book like 2 books in a week. It's kind of like an extension project itself. And then student artifacts is response logs. The student artifacts is response logs, and then roll sheets and other process material that students have compiled over the course of the literature circle meetings on the literature circle discussion. And then wikis and blogs. Students may blog on a teacher and can website. So this is the like a console. The students need to consult to the to the teacher, and it took the internet. Okay, and then the next is done. The next is done. Oh, maybe it's 17 minutes. It's too long. Okay, I have I have some quotation. I have some quote to you guys. There is the thing about books. They let you wonder without moving your ass. So read a book. And maybe you can write a book. But the first is read a book. Maybe you can read every day, in reading some Quran after Maghrib prayer. And then that's all. Thank you and see you again. That's all I have to say about literature circle. I'm sorry if I have a lot of mistake from this this presentation. That brings me to the end of this presentation. Today I have shared about what is literature circle, description chart, and the key features until the assessment and the evaluation of the literature circle itself. So thank you for all of your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good morning.